There's a hierarchy in every room, whether you notice it or not. The powerful aren't observing everyone. They're focused on the few who stand out and the many who vanish the moment they walk in. Not because they're quiet, not because they're humble, but because they carry habits that broadcast one thing loudly: irrelevance. Machiavelli didn't write for the masses. He wrote for the rulers, the ones who understood that true visibility isn't about volume. It's about impact, about being felt. And when you embody these 13 habits, you don't simply fade into the background. You become invisible. Invisible to power, invisible to opportunity, invisible to respect. It all begins with the first habit: entering rooms with your energy projected outward, not inward. When a powerful person enters a room, their awareness expands. They scan, they evaluate, they dominate silently. But when a weak person enters, they shrink. Their posture folds in, their energy retreats, and their eyes search the floor instead of owning the space. To the powerful, this person might as well not exist, not even worth a glance. Because if you don't value your own presence, why should anyone else? Appearances are weapons of influence. Disappear, and your enemies won't need to destroy you. You've already done it yourself. Walking into a room is your first test. Your shoulders should lead, your gaze deliberate, your energy radiating outward. Don't wait to be noticed. Move like recognition is already owed to you. The second habit: eliminate apology from your speech. Even if your words are strong, your tone can betray you. Rising inflections, trailing soft endings, filler words like or excessive sorries, all signal uncertainty. No matter what you say, if it sounds like you're asking for permission to exist, the powerful will tune you out instantly. Politeness is interpreted as weakness. Machiavelli viewed speech as a weapon, measured, intentional, controlled. Never desperate, never shaky, never perform to please. Train your tone to be flat, calm, and authoritative. Speak slowly, deliberately, with weight behind your words. Let silence amplify your confidence. Don't fill the space just to be heard, because the moment you stop sounding unsure, people lean in. The third habit: resist laughing too easily. Laughter is a social signal. It says, I agree, I am harmless. I exist for comfort. But as Machiavelli would warn, the one who laughs first surrenders power, especially when it's nervous laughter, when it's not genuinely funny, or when it's at your own subtle expense. Powerful people test you through tone. They might say something risky, sarcastic, or borderline offensive. You then wait, not to see if you're hurt, but to see if you submit with a laugh. The moment you do, they mark you. You're no longer seen as equal. Don't laugh to belong. If something is disrespectful, don't smirk. Hold your silence. Maintain the tension. Make them feel your stillness. When they cannot read you, they cannot control you. And that is power. The fourth habit is over-explaining simple things. You're asked a question, you answer, and then you keep talking, adding backstory, disclaimers, softeners, and examples. Not because it's necessary, but because you feel compelled to justify your right to speak. This habit renders you invisible because it reeks of insecurity. Powerful people don't have the time or patience for those who narrate their thoughts. Like an unsolicited podcast, you might think, if I explain it clearly enough, they'll understand me. But they're thinking, if he needs this many words, he isn't worth listening to. As Machiavelli would say, the more you explain, the more control you surrender. Let your words be few and final. Answer, then stop. Let silence carry the weight of your presence. Speak as though your time is expensive. Let them ask if they want more. Never assume they do. Because when you speak less, every word gains power. When you speak too much, your value dissolves in the noise. These aren't random quirks. They are invisible disqualifiers, the subconscious signals that tell the powerful, this one isn't ready. This one doesn't believe in himself. This one can be ignored without consequence. And here's what no one tells you. You don't get second chances with power. By the time you correct your mistake, the room has already moved on. Machiavelli understood that every environment is a battlefield, not with swords, but with posture, tone, presence, and silence. Fail to weaponize these, and you'll be dismissed before your words are even processed. But we're not finished. There are more habits, each sharper than the last. each a reason why you've been overlooked, underestimated, and forgotten in rooms that could have changed your life. You weren't rejected, you were invisible, and it was your habits that made it so. You weren't born invisible. You trained yourself to become that way. Every suppressed opinion, every swallowed instinct, every time you nodded when you should have walked away, you were carving yourself into someone forgettable. Powerful people aren't blind. They simply filter. They scan the room and unconsciously eliminate those who carry the scent of compliance, apology, or unclaimed identity. They don't do it to be cruel. They do it because time is limited, and power only moves toward other power. The fifth habit is waiting to be included. You sit at the table, but you do not speak unless spoken to. You linger at the edge of conversations, hoping someone will notice you, hoping someone will invite you in. You wait, socially, professionally, emotionally, for permission to exist, to contribute, to be acknowledged. This is the death of presence because it broadcasts the very thing Machiavelli warned against: dependence on others for validation. When you wait to be included, you are signaling loud and clear, I am not sure I belong here. Can someone else decide for me? Powerful people never wait. They insert themselves not with arrogance but with decisiveness, with intent. They understand one fundamental truth: value does not knock. It walks in. Do not ask, is it my turn? Take the turn. Steer the moment. Add value quickly, then go silent. Let your contribution echo in the space. The ones who hesitate are forgotten. The ones who speak once, with weight and certainty, are remembered. Presence is claimed, not requested. The sixth habit is apologizing for your standards. You have preferences, limits, non-negotiables, but the moment someone questions them, you soften, you explain, you backtrack. Whether it is how you spend your time, who you date, or what you tolerate, you treat your boundaries as if they required defense. And the moment you defend them, you lose gravity. Machiavelli understood that standards are not morality, they are instruments of power calibration. If you apologize for your standards, you make them seem optional, arbitrary, negotiable. But if you uphold them silently, without explanation, they become sacred. Say no without flinching, decline without justification, walk away without signaling hurt or pain. When standards are presented as law, they command respect. When explained, they seek permission. The powerful respond to law, not debate. The seventh habit is overusing praise. You believe compliments build connection, but overuse them, and they lose all value. You say things like, nice job, or wow, that's amazing, to smooth conversation, to show warmth, to align yourself with others. But Machiavelli would warn that praise, when given too freely, becomes meaningless. It signals not leadership but dependency. It communicates, I need you to like me. I am trying to belong. When you flood powerful people with flattery, they hear weakness. They see someone who can be controlled. Praise, if it is to have weight, must cost something. Deliver it sparingly, deliberately, and specifically. Let it be a reward, not a reflex. Let it be rare, precise, and slightly delayed. When admiration is disciplined, it ceases to be noise. It becomes a signal, and the powerful respond to signals, not validation. The eighth habit is mirroring too much. You match their tone, their slang, their laugh, their rhythm. You subtly adjust yourself to fit them, believing this builds rapport. But what it actually builds is invisibility. The more you reflect someone else, the more you blur your own edges. And the moment your identity becomes fluid, they stop seeing you as an equal. Unconscious mirroring screams desperation. It says, I will become whatever you need me to be, just do not exclude me. And once they perceive this, respect vanishes. They know you care more about acceptance than presence. Maintain your natural tone even if it clashes. Do not match volume or mimic gestures simply to smooth interactions. Let there be tension. You do not need to resolve it. Only those with nothing to prove bend to fit. The ones who remain solid, unapologetically themselves, create curiosity, command attention, and draw the powerful toward them. Presence is not granted. It is claimed through consistency, authenticity, and the refusal to vanish. The ninth habit is always showing gratitude first. Yes, gratitude is powerful, but like any tool of power, timing is everything. If you thank someone before establishing your own presence, you immediately appear subordinate. Phrases like, "thank you for your time," or "thanks for having me," may sound polite, but Machiavelli would read them differently, as a silent confession. "I believe this interaction benefits me more than it benefits you." That single, unspoken imbalance shrinks you in the eyes of the powerful, even if you are talented, brilliant, or invaluable. Delay gratitude. Establish presence first. Speak with parity before praise. Let the interaction reveal mutual benefit before you express deference. Because when you walk into a room and thank someone for letting you be there, you reinforce the lie that you didn't belong in the first place. And power does not respect what crawled to get in. Power respects what walked in, head held high, unwavering and unbowed. These habits do not shout weakness, they whisper it. And those whispers are louder to the powerful than any shout ever could. They do not need to analyze you. They feel the signals. And when those signals tell them, this one bends, this one shrinks, this one mirrors, you vanish from their awareness. They do not hate you. They do not judge you. They simply do not notice you. And that is worse, because when power forgets you, so too does opportunity. So too does influence. So too does the world itself. But when you eliminate these habits, something shifts. The air around you thickens. People pause before speaking to you. They phrase questions differently. They adjust their tone without being prompted. Not because you demanded respect. Not because you projected force, but because you removed every habit that made you ignorable. What remains is presence. Presence is what the powerful cannot afford to overlook. You do not become visible to powerful people by trying to be seen. You become visible by becoming undeniable. Most people beg for attention. They perform. They soften. They seek approval with every movement, every phrase, every nervous smile. They act as if visibility is something to be asked for. Machiavelli knew the truth. Visibility is claimed, not granted. And the moment you drop the behaviors that dilute your presence, the hesitation, the over-explanations, the self-effacing apologies, the world begins to react. Not because you got louder, not because you demanded attention, but because you stopped signaling weakness. Presence speaks on its own. It does not need justification. It does not need validation. It simply exists, and in its existence the powerful take notice. The final 4 habits dig deepest into your identity. They are core leaks, the subtle fissures that determine whether you are taken seriously or erased entirely. The 10th habit is constantly seeking emotional safety in conversation. You enter a room and immediately search for friendly eyes. You read every tone, measure every facial reaction, adjust mid-sentence, softening your opinions, walking back your honesty. You do this because deep down you crave smoothness. You are addicted to emotional safety. But here is the Machiavellian reality. He who fears conflict will always serve the one who does not. Real power generates tension without blinking. The powerful enter rooms and say things that unsettle, ask questions that challenge. Allow discomfort to hang in the air because they are not dependent on emotional comfort. When you constantly seek to keep everything nice, you become a social janitor, cleaning up the room at the cost of your own presence. Let people feel discomfort around you. Let your words land heavy. Let silence stretch. Let the moment breathe, even if it burns. When you show no fear of emotional chaos, people instinctively begin to respect you, not because they like you, but because they cannot move you. And that is the beginning of influence. The 11th habit is avoiding physical space. You sit with your legs crossed, shoulders inward. You minimize gestures, shrink into corners, fold yourself away. This is not humility. It is submission, communicated entirely through posture. Your body says, "I'm not a threat. Don't mind me." Machiavelli believed that every room is an arena, and in every arena, your body speaks before your words ever arrive. The powerful see the person in the corner, perfectly opinionated but spatially invisible, as irrelevant. If your body does not claim the environment, your words will never matter. Sit like you belong. Unfold your arms. Keep your chin parallel. Square your shoulders. Do not flinch when attention lands on you. Let it rest naturally. The body trains the mind, and when your posture commands presence, your energy aligns. You are no longer merely in the room, you anchor it. The 12th habit is over-identifying with good intentions. This one is brutal, because most people are convinced that intentions alone will protect them. I didn't mean to sound weak. I meant well, they tell themselves. But power does not care about meaning. It only responds to signals. Over-identifying with your goodness creates a blind spot. You assume others will perceive your depth, your potential, your kindness. Machiavelli would laugh. Goodness without perception is irrelevant. Intentions are silent. Signals are everything. The powerful do not decode your soul. They respond to your behavior. If you appear needy or apologetic, they do not ask why. They simply decide you are not sharp enough, not present enough, not ready. Stop expecting rewards for what you intended. Own how you come across. Adjust behavior, not just intentions. Those who rise are not the kindest. They are the ones whose presence commands perception. The 13th and deepest flaw is treating influence like something to be earned. You believe influence must be earned over time. Prove yourself. Wait your turn, serve long enough. Be liked enough, and only then, maybe, will you be taken seriously. Machiavelli would tell you the truth. Influence is never earned. It is assumed, and if assumed with conviction, it becomes reality. Those who carry power enter new rooms with the unshakable posture of someone who is already someone. You just haven't realized it yet. Not arrogant, not loud, just anchored. They do not ask for attention. They do not wait for credit. They move as though the room should adjust to them, not the other way around. Stop thinking your work speaks for itself. It does not. Stop waiting for approval. Act like you matter. Move like someone who knows the spotlight is inevitable. When you treat influence as something to be claimed, you become the person others notice first, before they even understand why. And that is visibility, not because you fought for it, but because your existence could no longer be ignored. Now you have seen the full picture, 13 habits, each one quietly erasing you from the minds of those who could elevate, empower, or open doors. The tragedy is, you may have carried these habits for years, not from weakness, but because no one ever told you they were invisible armor with holes in it. Now you know. You cannot unsee it. You cannot unknow what your smile, tone, posture, and reactions signal when you think you are being polite or blending in for safety. You are not blending, you are fading. And the room does not care unless you stop hiding in humility. Stop leaking insecurity through manners. Stop shrinking yourself in the name of peace. When you drop these habits, everything changes. You do not merely enter the room registers you. Power shifts, eyes adjust. People hesitate. They ask questions differently. They speak differently, not because you demanded it, not because you performed, but because you removed every habit that made you ignorable. What remains is presence, and presence is what the powerful cannot afford to overlook. You walk into a room not fast, not slow, but with the energy of someone who is not seeking anything. You speak when you decide, not when invited. Your sentences end in silence, not questions. You do not seek warmth, you radiate gravity. You do not mirror, you anchor. You do not rush to fill gaps, you let silence test them. And when someone tries to size you up, through sarcasm, condescension, or playful challenge, you do not flinch. You do not laugh nervously, you do not adjust. You simply observe, calm, cold, composed, silent. You cannot be categorized. They do not know what you will tolerate. They do not know what you are capable of. That uncertainty is what keeps you safe. Visibility to the powerful is not about approval, praise, or validation. It is volatility, the sense that if they ignore you, they may regret it. If they underestimate you, they could be wrong, catastrophically wrong. And so they watch, they hesitate. They study, they give space. They listen longer than they should. They notice every reaction, not because you forced them, but because you left them no other option. From this moment on, never believe politeness is your currency. Presence is, and presence is built by subtraction. Remove apology, remove over-explanation, remove approval-seeking, remove unearned softness. What remains is the real you, undeniable, unshakable, unignorable. Once these habits are gone, there is no dilution, no camouflage, only signal, only force, only the silent gravity of someone who does not perform power. They simply are power, and when that is who you become, even the most powerful person in the room will feel it. Because you are no longer just in the room. You have become the center of it effortlessly, irreversibly.